wonderful speakers for this evening. They are Debra Strichartz, Linda Sidaris, and Maureen Griffin. They're with the North County Citizens for Public Education. And they're going to be speaking to us about a growing menace to public education, which is the increasing efforts of right-wing groups to take over school boards, to ban books, to marginalize LGBTQ students, and impose their ideology on curriculum development. And so I'm going to turn this meeting over now, and Debra, I
Yes,
think,
I'll
is
start.
beginning. Thank you.
So we're really jealous of all you people in the room because it sounds like you're having a really good time. So
Need the mic here.
appreciate.
All right, so let's try this here. Hey, Deborah, can you use?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's go. We couldn't hear you before, but please
Can
continue.
you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay. So thank you for inviting us to address your group. As I mentioned, you're probably having a lot more fun in the room there with all the people than we are here. We'll be speaking tonight on the far-right education movement. I'll be talking about that. Cindy Sidaris will be talking about topics for advanced preparation. We'll be hyper vigilant about the time, and we'll take questions and answers. Next. So who we are, we're the North County Citizens for Public Education. We're a group of activists and Democrats from Los Altos. And after kind of discovering a lot of the Moms for Liberty and other right-wing groups that are participating in Santa Clara County, we partnered with the Santa Clara County Democrats for Public Education, which is a club within Santa Clara County of educators, teachers, school board members, union leaders, and we work with them as their North County work group. And when we are working with the schools directly, we are North County Citizens for Public Education, nonpartisan. So what we have done is we have established connection with many of the school boards in our area. Okay, so we have met with Los Altos High, Mountain View, Sunnyvale, Palo Alto. And what we did was first we wanted to meet and find out who our allies are in the local school boards, assess any risk for disruption, and assess their preparation. So for example, some school boards have protocols in place for disruption. Other school boards were not prepared, couldn't figure out how to cut the mic if they needed. We identified liaisons in each district that work with the school board members and monitor the meetings. And then we provided training for local groups on how to speak at a school board meeting. The far-right education movement is well organized, well funded, tied to the Republican Party, and they are spreading disinformation regarding public education. These conservative activists are promoting racist policies and a need to protect public schools being threatened by groups. And many of you most commonly have heard of Moms for Liberty. They advocate to take over school boards, disrupt school boards, stop business as usual. They advocate to ban books, but we are very lucky in California that Governor Newsom has signed a anti-book ban law into place. They really marginalize and attack the legal rights of LGBTQ and trans students, in particular in books and curriculum. They want to revise American history. This comes out a lot in the development of the ethnic study programs at the high school level. And they want to impose their ideology on curriculum development, which we'll talk about when they try to opt out of standard education. And most important, and I want everyone to hear that they are recruiting and supporting local candidates for school board elections. So this is where we really need to be active. In the Bay Area, I'm going to talk tonight about Moms for Liberty, Informed Parents of Silicon Valley, which is a pretty innocuous name for a pretty right-wing group, the Values Advocacy Council, which is a mega church in San Jose, and then Protect Educational Rights of Kids and Protect Kids California, which are two organizations that grew out of the COVID anti-masking movement. And they are the two organizations working together, getting signatures for 3 anti-trans bills to be on the ballot in November. Moms for Liberty is a national nonprofit network with a lot of local chapters. And when we started researching this, we had heard about them coming to San Ramon and talking about banning books. And you can go to the website for Moms for Liberty and put in your county. And I was shocked to see that there were chapters in Contra Costa, Santa Clara County, and San Mateo County. I thought this only happened in Florida and Texas, and so it was really quite a surprise. Their goal, mission to organize, educate, empower parents to defend their parental rights. Moms for Liberty are named a far right-wing extremist group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. They were voted the National Hero Award by Fox News. They claim 130,000 members and 300 chapters in the CNN article. And the blue lines, which are links, when we send out the slide deck at the end, you'll be able to click on these and read more about in the particular articles. For Moms for Liberty in the Bay Area, and Contra Costa they have a very anti-Moms for Liberty group, and they had a day educational program fighting these organizations. They argued against a potential day of silence to promote awareness of LGBTQ and centered bullying, and against the use of books focusing on this curriculum. In Santa Clara, Moms for Liberty Santa Clara is held by Carl Kalukalani. He has no children in the school district. We're not sure what his relationship is. He's a retired tech worker, and he is in charge of putting out their bi-monthly newsletter. In November, they proclaimed that they asked to be that the school board decree it Parents' Rights Month. It did not, and they provided letters that people could fill out to school boards to request that books be banned. They are sponsoring the Queering of Education this month. And if you get a chance with this link, you can actually see the slide deck that they are using, which is pretty horrific. And then in 2022, of the 9 candidates, Moms for Liberty candidates in Santa Clara County, there were 49 in the state of California. Only one Moms for Liberty candidate won in Franklin McKinley School District in San Jose, and he was later censured, which we will talk about. The Informed Parents of Silicon Valley are a San Jose nonprofit. They're focused on a family values-based, child-centered curriculum, which sounds fair. They are very active in promoting opt-out of harmful teaching. So Cindy's going to go over the California statutes that explain specifically the rights of parents to opt out of particular educational formats, but they, they're sort of the anti-social studies movement. They believe that you can go on your website, there's a pull down. Have you ever heard critical race theory? Have you ever heard this word? Have you ever had a book that you don't like? And they help parents try to opt out of the curriculum. They believe our children are the victims of a widespread campaign to fundamentally change our society and reset our moral values. The Values Advocacy Council is a big mega church in San Jose. It was founded in 2005 to be a voice for local pastors, churches, and Christians in the ideas, policy, and legislation. Okay, so they are quite politically active. We believe that parents are charged by God with the responsibility of raising their children to make decisions. We'll believe that the parents, not the schools, are responsible for the teaching and training of moral values. And they have a very robust pull down of running for office. And so, for example, if you wanted to get endorsed by this group, there's about a 10-page questionnaire that is you need to fill out, but they facilitate instructing people how to run for local office. So what ties these 3 groups together, Moms for Liberty, Informed Parents of Silicon Valley, and the Value Advocacy Council, is that they were, as we mentioned, Mark Cooper, who was the Moms for Liberty school board candidate in San Jose, in Franklin McKinney, he was actually censured by the school district. Okay, so this was a really big deal. Well, there was a lot of contentious school board meetings. And what happened is he partnered, the city council member immediately kind of said he wasn't aligned with these groups, but you can see that he supported a meeting. He was a speaker and a participant in an Informed Parents Silicon Valley event where they say our schools have fallen prey to a dangerous agenda pushed by politically driven educators seeking to indoctrinate our children at the expense of family values. They talked about banning books, and they were talking about facilitating how to opt out of inappropriate curriculum. So what happened is that at the school board meeting, the censure resolution said Cooper and the informed parents of Silicon Valley relayed misinformation about the Franklin McKinley School District, including, again, that they claimed it taught critical race theory and inappropriate curriculum. So these two are also with links to the articles, the Mountain for Liberty, Informed Parents, they oppose the censure of Mark Cooper.
You're on mute.
Okay.
Great.
And then the last thing was the actual school board vote, the San Jose Spotlight article. And the vote was 4-1, and Mark Cooper voted for not to censure. So quickly, I just, again, this was the first taste of a really disruptive school board meeting. You can see the different signs of the parents that were wanted to keep Mark Cooper from being censured. So there was a lot of activity in the Franklin McKinley School District. The next slide. Again, so just quickly, I think Cindy will talk about it more. There are 3 anti-trans ballot initiatives that they are gathering signatures for. Next slide. They will be restricting trans rights. They say that children have to self-identify if they want to change their pronouns. And again, these are from Protect Kids California and Protecting Educational Rights. They have a May 28th deadline to turn in about 550,000 signatures to qualify for the 2024 election. And as far as we know, they have about 200,000 signatures right now. Cindy?
I'm the next speaker. You can advance the slide, Maureen. So school board meetings, these groups target disrupting school board meetings so they can't get their business done. And they're taking advantage of First Amendment rights. School boards and city councils usually have a public comment section at the beginning where a person can address the council or the school board on any topic not on the agenda. And then there's public comment time during the specific agenda items. School boards can and often do restrict the amount of time that someone can speak. They try to prevent public comment on items not on the agenda to be about the agenda, but they're very limited on what they can do. They can limit the amount of time. They can try to keep people from just repeating the same thing, but they're very limited. Next slide. So the topics that are most commonly argued about or brought to school boards to fight about are what they call parental rights and curriculum choice. Often that additionally they want CRT, critical race theory, which is usually related to ethnic studies, diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI is a dog whistle term for them. Social emotional learning is another tag word that they like to attack. And then LGBTQ plus issues are a huge focus for them to take away the privacy rights and discrimination laws that protect LGBTQ children, students, and to take away especially the rights of transgender youth. And so we're going to talk about those. Parental rights and curriculum choice. This is where these groups try to impose their own philosophy, ideologies on the curriculums. In California, we have now a law, AB 1078, that bans book bans in our public and charter schools. California also says the right to an education is fundamental under the Constitution. The laws of California also provide the students the right schools to be free of discrimination based on race, sex, and sexual orientation. And so these groups usually come to the school board meetings to argue about how and when to teach about LGBTQ plus, kids with two moms, kids with two dads, how to teach sex education, what are privacy rights of students. And that's what the ballot initiatives, one of the areas are. Does the school have to tell a parent when a child comes out at school but doesn't want their parents to know? Taking away the rights of trans kids to access gender affirming care. So these are kind of the topics that are often most discussed. Let's go to the next slide. Legally, by California law, parents can only opt out of 3 specific curriculum areas. They can opt out completely of the sex ed. They can't pick and choose. They can opt out of HIV/AIDS prevention education, and they can opt out of surveys and tests and research surveys. But that's the only areas they can opt out of. These groups try to convince parents to try to opt out of social studies, history, other topics. Next slide. Critical race theory. I'm sure you've heard the term. It's an old, 40 years old legal framework. It's a framework for legal analysis created by legal scholars for use in college courses. So these groups that claim their children are being taught critical race theory in elementary school or high school are just using a term and they're using it incorrectly. So the accusations of someone teaching CRT have to be countered with the facts about what CRT really is, and what is actually being taught is probably ethnic studies. Next slide. This is just a slide with more information about CRT and what's going on with it. Next slide. Social emotional learning has been around for decades in the school curriculums. It teaches the soft skills that help students make good choices, manage their emotions, create positive relationships, collaborate successfully. It's been in the curriculum under many other names, such as character development, whole child development, moral development. Social emotional learning has been accused in 2021 of being a Trojan horse for actually teaching CRT and gender diversity. So they want to attack social emotional learning when really what they're trying to do is get at LGBTQ issues and teaching history in a truthful way and addressing racism. Next. Ethnic studies. California mandates that in high schools, starting in the year 2025-2026 school year, high school students have to complete at least 1 semester of an ethnic studies class. I looked at the high schools in San Mateo County. I think all of them have a requirement for at least a semester of ethnic studies. Some require a year, some have a 2nd semester that's optional. I think there was one high school that's still piloting the program. There's an approved curriculum that schools can use from the state. I think San Mateo's probably done with this process, but what we found in Santa Clara County, which we're also pretty much done, is the process to agree on specific content can be really fraught and difficult. And after the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel, there were many, many comments of parents and students to their school boards questioning the content of their ethnic studies class around Israel and Palestine. So the contents are still being worked out within all the districts. Next slide. LGBTQ rights. Students have the right to an education, and students have the right to not be discriminated for their sexual orientation or other protected characteristics. What isn't specifically listed in the law is privacy. And so that's where these groups want to require school administration, school teachers to notify parents if the if the student comes out at school as having different pronouns, comes out as gay, comes out as lesbian, talks about being wanting to be transgender or identifying as transgender. And so that's one of the issues that they're trying to get on the ballot. And let's see, in the California Youth Act, since 2016, students are required to have a comprehensive sex education. Next. LGBTQ rights are hotly contested. There's 6 school districts who have adopted transgender parental notification policies that appear to violate existing laws. Our state attorney general has sued one of those districts so far over their policy requiring parental notification. One way to convince or try to convince a school district to not institute these offensive and probably illegal policies is to highlight the risk of expensive lawsuits to them should they pass laws and then have to defend them in court against the state. And additionally, another law in California, by July 2026, all public schools K through 12 have to provide gender neutral bathrooms. Next. We're done. We're ready for questions and answers.
So hopefully people can hear you. I think they can.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
All right. First, I want to thank our speakers. That was very informative. When you were brought to our attention, I immediately went on the internet and did some research. And I did find a Moms for Liberty group in San Mateo County. It was a private Facebook, page, and because it was private, I couldn't see the names of the people who were on it, but they listed 40 members. And so I did some more research, and I saw that these same people tried to start a private school in, I think, 2021 or 22 called West Liberty School. And then since then, there doesn't seem to have been much activity. I wonder if you have any more information about Moms for Liberty activities in our county?
I looked, obviously, because I thought I would, but I couldn't find anything. I found the same thing that you did, which was the Facebook page. But they are listed on the map, identified on the national website of having a chapter here in San Mateo. There's a hand up.
There's 2 hands up.
Okay. On Zoom.
Is it my job to
call on people, or should we just ask questions?
Karen, how do you want to handle this?
Why don't you ask, Elsa?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. This was stunning. And I was hemming and hawing. Oh, I know this is a problem. Do I really want to watch? Thank you so much. Where else do you want to be giving these presentations? Where else could we help connect you?
Well, I think, one of the main things really on the grassroots level is, like I said, we didn't include our third part of this talk, which is how to speak at a school board meeting, which is how to prepare, how to stay on point, how to be respectful. And that's what we have presented. So that's something that if you were to have volunteers or people that were interested in taking this on, you guys are activists and may feel confident speaking at these kinds of meetings, but some of the people that we've met with have not. So we also have a well-developed script when someone reaches out to a school board member, so they don't just go there, kind of understanding we're there to help, and then identify resources, et cetera. But pretty much we've done, we weren't able to speak at the, we were invited by Contra Costa. It didn't work for us. And then we have spoke to the Santa Clara Democratic Party, but we've also met with, go ahead.
Elsa,
Sorry,
Um,
can I just say,
April, you have the last question.
but could I just
Oh,
ask,
okay.
do you have a website where any of these things are recorded, where we could watch that third part?
Let me look into it. Might be on the Santa Clara Dems for Public Education in their
Okay.
archives.
Right.
Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
April.
Oh, hi. We unfortunately had an instance in our county where there was a
April,
vacancy.
can you, you're the last question, April Vargas.
Who is this, Maureen?
Okay, can I continue?
Yes, we can hear you. Go
Hello?
ahead.
Oh, okay. Where there was a vacancy on a school board and the only person who applied was one of these extremist people. And so the school board had to appoint them. And it's been very difficult ever since to work with this person. So my question, particularly because we are a Democratic Central Committee and we work with elections, do you have any strategies for encouraging people to run for vacancies on their local school boards so that this sort of thing doesn't happen where basically by default someone gets appointed?
I wish I had the magic answer. It is clearly a thankless job right now. It's not a very, it's risky to people. People have security issues, safety, people, especially with school board members being attacked. But we're hoping the more that parents understand the risk, more people will come forward. But
Right.
I don't, Cindy, do you have anything? Like I said, we've been following the lead of James Kim in the Democratic Party in Santa Clara, but I don't have specific strategies.
So, hey, Deb, should we just since it's almost time, should they reach out to James? Because that's part of James working with Ava is to encourage people to run. Would that be a good link?
Yes, so we,
Okay.
Oh,
so I'm sure you know.
actually, I think I know him. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Great question.
yeah, great question. Okay, Karen, it's top of the hour and you said 7:30.
Mentioned that, is Chelsea Bonilla on the call? Okay, she's not at the meeting tonight. But she is aware of this group and aware that they were speaking here today. And speaking as the chair of our club, it's a fairly new club that has been chartered that is for children's rights. I forget what the exact name of it is, but Chelsea chairs that. And she says that this is one of the issues that they are going to be addressing.
Mm.
She said it is a growing problem in our county as well as other places. So again, ladies, thank you very much.
Thank
And
you
you're
very much.
very well on time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.